Hey, it's David. Welcome back to Cross Fitness, helping men and women get in the best spiritual shape of their lives, one workout at a time. Quick thought in this video that I'm calling What to Do When You Feel Boxed In. And haven't we all been there? Come on. I mean, this is real life, real problems. It's real live action, live ammunition, going into the lives that we lead. And sometimes you just feel boxed in where there just aren't any good options, And it reminds me of the children of Israel, as they were exiting the nation of Egypt that had enslaved them for 430 years. And they're boxed in. And to the right of them, there's a canyon. To the left of them, there's a canyon. In front of them, there's the Red Sea. Behind them, there's Pharaoh's army pursuing them. Hey, how about that? You ever felt like that? You're in a box canyon. You don't know the way out. It's drama. It's trauma. And there you are. You just don't know what to do. And that's where the Israelites found themselves. And yet they got the word of the Lord that says, go forward. Go forward through the sea. And the story, Moses raised up that rod symbolizing God's authority. That rod he had at the burning bush that he threw down became a snake, and he did all sorts of wonderful, amazing miracles through that rod of God's authority. But they had to step out to find out. They had to move forward, and as they did, God parted the Red Sea. And it's like God seems to be moved by motion. We've got to take the pathway of obedience that is so important, that activates God's involvement, It just does. And we see this replete through the scriptures. Don't you know? It's like, when Jesus said, take up your mat and walk. Well, the guy had to take up his mat, and in the process, he got healed, to the 10 lepers. Go show yourself to the priests. They took the pathway of obedience. And in the going, they got healed. I'm thinking of I think it was 3 or 4 lepers, don't know which. There's famine in the city, and the army's, trying to starve them out on the left. And they're lepers, they're outside the city. And they said, why sit here till we die? If we go in the city, we're going to starve to death. If we go to the enemy, worst thing they can do is kill us. So let's get up and go and surrender to them. Maybe they'll feed us. And as they got up, God sent this supernatural audio soundtrack of an army coming to annihilate the army there, and they ran, and they found all these tents full of food and whatnot and supplies. But notice what happened in the action of going, taking the pathway of obedience. And there's so many other examples that we could look to in the scriptures that God seems to be moved by motion. You got to step out to find out. Peter stepped out on the water. Bam! As long as he had that steady gaze on Jesus, he walked in a supernatural, miraculous place. And the same could be said for you and for me. The pathway of obedience is the way to go. Now, let's do the next right thing. Let's take that step of faith. And you're not going to get where you want to be without taking the step of faith, because without faith, it is impossible to please God. God wants to activate our faith. He wants to grow our faith. He wants to incrementally, through baby steps, encourage us to believe Him, to trust in Him, to not see it and do it anyway. And He's going to groom and cultivate and develop and grow our faith. So we gotta make a choice, and He'll make the change. Okay. So my encouragement to you, to get out of this box canyon that you may find yourself in now or in the future, is to choose the pathway of obedience, to do the thing that God has laid on your heart. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Be nervous and do it anyway. Just go. Get moving. Do what you can do, what only you can do, what God's told you to do, what the Word's told you to do, what your pastor's told you to do through the sermon, or however God has communicated and conveyed to you that you need to do it. You know it. You're being resistant. You're holding back. You're nervous and you don't want to do it. Well, that's when faith needs to activate. You need to do it anyway. And in so doing, I believe that God is going to meet you right there as you're in motion. Okay? So I think you're going to have an opportunity to do that perhaps even this week. So if so, remember this video And as you step out, you're going to find out God's faithfulness will meet you there. God's provision will meet you there. You make the choice, and God will bring the change. I hope that encourages you a little bit. For now, I'm David, your virtual mentor, reminding you that I'm always for you. Hey, I'm never against you. Take care. Have a good week.